Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video today. Today we are going to be doing a review for the Team of the Season, League One Team of the Season. Now, I know that it took me a while to make this video. It's about finding a time. Like, even with the streams, like, I'm gonna start being consistent. I'm just trying to work out the situation with work and stuff to kind of do it more in the afternoon and all that stuff and have more time to do the YouTube because I feel like I gotta really make that push to kind of push my content. So, in regards to the Team of the Season for League One, we're gonna go ahead and start with Neymar. So, right off the bat, with Neymar's card, he's going to be amazing. It's going to be very hard to say that he isn't going to be a very good card. Now, if we look at Neymar's card, is this dude? I'm kind of wondering if Footbin has like a dark mode or something. I don't know if it's this. It's definitely not that. If Footbin and if any of these websites have a dark mode, please let me know, guys, because the white on the screen like destroys my eyes. But in regards to Neymar's card, he's got 99 acceleration with 94 sprint speed, 99 agility, and 86 balance, which the balance, even if it was 81, would be like somewhat irrelevant because of the fact that he's 5'8". But obviously, since his balance is even better, then it's obviously nicer to have, right? On the ball, this guy's going to already be an absolute monster. If we look at his 92 rated card, on the ball, he's already a beast too, right? 94 acceleration, 90 sprint speed, 96 agility, 82 balance, right? The Team of the Season version of the card will only feel significantly better movement-wise, right? Ball control, dribbling, composure, all really, really up there. So again, dribbling is going to be god tier. His finishing is going to be very, very consistent, right? 99 finishing with 96 composure with 93 shot power. The shot power is something that people don't look at too much, but shot power is very important because if your player doesn't have a lot of momentum on the ball, or you're in a position where you have to do a driven shot, but you have a little bit of pressure on you, that shot power is very important to finish the majority of the opportunities that you get in the game, right? So it's very important that they have very good finishing stats in general. His volleys are really good, so they're going to be very accurate because the volleys and the finishing will go hand in hand, obviously. His penalties are 94. Penalties being 94 is also very, very good. But you don't really notice a huge difference with the penalty takers. You kind of do in terms of approach to the ball and a little bit of accuracy, but as you guys know, the best way to take the penalties in FIFA is kind of like that. It's the sweet spot from the left side or the right side where it goes right under the goalie's arms, right? So that's the best thing to do. I think this card would make a beautiful, beautiful cam rather than striker. Although he would be, excuse me, although he would be a really good striker, I think he would be a better cam because his physical has definitely been improved, but he's still not a very physical player. He's like, you want to kind of put more like Thierry Henry's and Ronaldo's up there, right? The physical dudes, because being able to do a driven pass off to those guys, laying it off to the side is very important, right? And Neymar, because he's kind of skinny, has a skinny physique in game, his strength isn't going to be too noticeable, even though there's an increase. But it will be noticeable more in the cam position because cam position is more free flowing, and you're not doing driven passes that much to your cams. You're sometimes doing it, but your cam is usually the one that's setting up the play. He's 5 star, so can't go wrong with that, right? Finishing wise, the 5 star weak foot is going to be god tier. Being able to do a fake Rabona and scoop turns on the dot, very, very helpful as well, because scoop turns you can only usually do with 4 star skills when you're kind of like standing still a little bit and then you do the scoop turn. It's really weird to explain scoop turn to people because you're doing the fake shot, but you feel when you're doing the scoop turn. It's more when they're standing still, but it's still possible for them to do a fake shot standing still as well. Very hard to explain, but it's the way you kind of move the thumbstick, right? Strength 72, 76 aggression. So that is drastically improved from what he had before. So that physical stat increase is probably going to be the most noticeable difference. That, and I would say the shooting. The passing has been improved, but his passing before wasn't terrible, right? So passing being improved will just make him more accurate on the first time passes. When his ankle is really bad, passing it to other people, it'll also be very good too. Also, if you have him as a cam, having 83 jumping isn't necessarily amazing because he is 5'8", but he still has a possibility of actually winning a ball in the air. So That's very good. Cavani has a new card, and Cavani is still going to play to his characteristic of being a more sloppy type dribbler. So they do that with the balance and stuff to kind of match the player's characteristic in real life. So in regards to Cavani's card, his acceleration is 87. Ooh, the thing I forgot to do was the Neymar chemistry style. 1 million coins is very cheap for this card, by the way, is because the way that the market is going now, everything is just going super, super low. In regards to Neymar's card, 100% give him Hawk to improve his pace, his shooting as much as possible. Pace and shooting needs to be improved to the maximum capability they can, but improving the physical will definitely help to make him have a better physical presence in the game. So I would definitely give him a Hawk. But in regards to Cavani's card, he has 87 acceleration and 91 sprint speed, but the way he's going to be dribbling on the ball is going to be very sloppy, but his shooting will be somewhat consistent. Oh, another thing I forgot to do is what is Neymar's traits? The traits that he has is speed dribbler, technical dribbler. Okay, so his dribbling will be amazing, pretty much, right? Cavani's card. Cavani has, let's see the traits he has before I do anything. Tries to beat the defensive line. So the thing about tries to beat the defensive line for Cavani's card is that he will actually do a very solid job at actually doing that, right? Because the thing about Cavani is that if he has somewhat of a physical presence, not somewhat, he has a really good physical presence. Because look, he has that trait. He has 87 acceleration, 91 sprint speed. His shooting is pretty much perfect. So because all those things are perfect, again, I would probably try to give him, since his physical is already good, I would give him better dribbling stats. So if you give him a Maestro card, because there's no pace and dribbling, I don't think. So if you give him a Maestro card, if I can even find it, it's not Hawk. It was Maestro, wasn't it? Dude, sometimes I forget where these cards are. Maestro. It's not Maestro. It's Engine. Has to be Engine then. Engine is. It's funny because like sometimes I'm pretty sure I pass over, and I do apologize for that. So you'll increase his pace, you'll increase his dribbling. So increasing the dribbling as much as possible will be very beneficial because if you can increase his balance as much as possible, it'll make his dribbling better, right? Because you gotta have some things that compensate, right? Because he's so physically strong, right? And very few times will players be able to outbody him. He'll be good in that regard, right? But he is 3-star, 3-star. He doesn't have a 4-star weak foot, so that's a huge, huge downfall in my opinion. Because if a player like Cavani doesn't have 4-star skills, he needs at least the 4-star weak foot. And because he doesn't have the 4-star weak foot, it's a little bit more underwhelming in my opinion, right? But because of that trait of tries to be the defensive line and the power header trait, believe it or not, I actually think the way that Cavani would work best is if you orient your game around crossing and you make a 4-2-3-1 narrow, right? And you make Cavani a cam on the right side, and you tell him to get into the box for the cross. If you cross the ball to Cavani, it'll be a very good test because I feel like he will probably win the ball in the air majority of the time. You have to revolve your gameplay around that though. So if you play a specific way where it's all about dribbling and stuff, Cavani's going to be really bad for you. But if you revolve your gameplay around crossing the ball into the pitch, crossing the ball into the 18-yard box, he's going to be very, very good at winning those because he has 99 jumping, 99 heading accuracy with 6-foot height, 84 strength, 96 aggression, while having tries to beat the defensive line and the power header trait. He's going to be very good at trying to head those far post crosses in. So it could actually be a very overpowered thing. The good thing about this too is that he also has 99 stamina. So if you're using him as a right cam, you can actually tell him to to come back on defense if you really want him to, right? So another very good card in those regards, but not a card that I would use personally. Glick has 72 pace now. So for me, right off the bat, I think the acceleration is just far too low for a team of the season card. And the 52 agility definitely doesn't help it either. So he has good defensive stats. He has decent dribbling stats, decent physicality, good passing. But a lot of the team of the seasons now actually have very good passing stats. So it's very underwhelming that the acceleration and the agility is so low. But again, they do that to match the player's characteristics in real life, right? So it does make sense, right? The next card that we have here is Fakir. So Fakir's card, is going to be a lot of fun to use. He doesn't have a 4-star weak foot, but there's a couple of things that have been improved on his card that have been very, very good improvements, right? So if we look at Fakir's card, he has 88 acceleration, 91 sprint speed. So we already know right off the bat that's very good. Right off the bat, I would give him a Hunter card because you want the shooting to be as perfect as possible. And then you want the pace to be as perfect as possible. If you think that the shooting stats are already decent, then I know that his physical is good. But if you increase that physical even more, which is the Hawk card, that would be ideal too. Because, 98s, if you believe that they're increased by this much, then so be it, right? But let's just say, for instance, we don't give him a card. So 88 acceleration, 91 sprint speed. Very, very good for someone who's going to be playing as a cam for you. He has 93 agility with 99 balance. So dribbling-wise, even on this card, it's already pretty good, right? 84 agility, 91 balance. But the sprint speed and the acceleration is low. So that's what kind of hinders the card a lot, right? So dribbling-wise, he's going to be very good. Finishing is now 93 with 94 composure, but he doesn't have a 4-star weak foot. So the play with him is going to be a little bit linear. Like, you can't really do a skill move to get into the box and then do it like a driven finesse with his right foot. He's not really going to hit them really well. So in that sense, you're a little bit linear. Like, if you do a skill move, you would have to kind of do like an extra ball roll to get the driven shot off with the card. So in that regard, linear play, but people like Salah, and Salah has like a 2-star weak foot, so it depends on how you see it. His long shots are amazing, his shot power is amazing, volleys are good, penalties are good. Again, I would give him Hunter to increase his pace as much as possible, and his shooting as much as possible. Passing stat-wise, he has 96 short passing, 86 long passing, so passing-wise, he's going to be very good as well. Curve is 96, blah, 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 those are very good. He has 86 jumping, so 5'8". If you're playing him as a cam, he will be able to win the ball from time to time for you because of the 86 jumping. Heading accuracy isn't as important as jumping is. Jumping is more important because if you head the ball, if you win a header, right, sometimes it'll be inaccurate because your heading is like 60, but if it's 74, it'll be accurate most of the times if you win the ball in the air, right? So having 86 jumping definitely helps, with the 5' height. 5'8" height doesn't really help that much. But the biggest improvement on Fakir's card is two different things. It's the pace and the physicality, right? So the physicality has been significantly improved, right? So he has the strength, which is massively improved. 83 stamina, 86 jumping, and 86 aggression. So the physical presence that he's going to have in the game is definitely going to help out a lot. He's going to feel significantly better, right? So dribbling-wise, with physical, will always be very nice to have. 5'8", so players will still be able to reach around, tackle him, but he'll be an awesome card to use. So if you use this card, obviously as a cam, if we look at his traits, he does have technical dribbler, backs into player, so you could use him as a striker and tell him to be like the hold-up player for him to lay off passes to everybody else, but then you have to remember that he is 5'8", so you have to try that out. Chip shot trait, which is nice, so that it's more consistent going into the back of the net. Yeah, also a very nice card, but in regards to the prices, I think the prices, everything is low, right? 174K, so that's really, really low. It's because the market is the way it is because of the World Cup mode, so it does make a lot of sense. Look, Thiago Silva for 103K, right? This card is incredible. This card is going to feel very, very, very good because of the massive acceleration, sprint speed, agility, balance increase. So he now has 85 agility with 77 acceleration, 82 sprint speed. Right off the bat, you would have to give this card an anchor, right? Increases defensive stats as much as possible, the physical stats as much as possible, pace stats as much as possible, right? Because the agility being 85 with good acceleration and sprint speed will make your player move left and right better. But even the fact that he has 78 balance will make him turn around quicker, right? So also very, very nice. Defensive stats are going to be god tier. Physical stats are going to be god tier. He's actually high work rate. So high work rates this year is actually not a bad thing to have. Sergio Ramos is high medium, and at times it's annoying that he doesn't really track back as hard as he pushes forward on the defense because he's an aggressive defender. But the the fact that he does come back on the defensive front is going to be very, very nice, right? He actually has the long shot trait, which is pretty, well, not long shot trait, but he has good long shot stats, so he can take good long shots if you're doing like corners and they're just outside the 18-yard box. You can actually take some banging shots with him, so that's pretty good. But his finishing is still 47, so really, really bad in that regard. So let's see what else we got here. We got Thauvin. So Thauvin's card, I think, is going to be probably... Yeah, it'll be pretty good too. 99 acceleration, 87 sprint speed, 92 agility, 81 balance, 95 reactions, 95 ball control. Yep, dribbling is going to be very, very good with his card. 3-star weak foot, but he is left-footed. So if you're playing him on the right side, make sure that you play him on the left side. So right side in-game, left side if you can switch in-game, right? It'd be most preferable because it's not really nice to have a player that is a left-footed player. Excuse me, a right-footed player, or a left-footed player on the right side, or a right-footed player on the left side, right? Because the way that the gameplay kind of orients itself is that it's really, really about driven shots, and if you can't really do a good driven shot when you give him the ball, if you lay off the ball to him, that's going to be a huge, huge annoyance, right? So make sure you switch him off to the left side. I feel like this card has the potential to actually be a decent striker because he does have a left foot on the left side, right? You could try him out as a striker if you really wanted to, like in-game, just to have fun with, right? He has good finishing stats. Excuse me. 99 positioning, 92 finishing, 99 shot power, 99 long shots, 83 volleys. Agility is good, balance is good. Again, dribbling, finishing, going to be very good. Penalties is low, but that's not really too big of an issue. The volleys being low, it's always when people say that volley stats being 83 is not a big issue. It is because there are times where you don't really have the time to control the ball, right? To take a shot. It's always best to just shoot it right away. So when your players have low volleys, it does hinder you a little bit, right? Because then you have to take that extra touch because you know your player has bad volleys, and that kind of slows down the tempo of the play, right? So if you could just shoot it right away, that'd be most preferable, right? Short passing, 97, 90 long passing, so you can make him a cam if you really want to. Really up to you. Because physical is such a huge importance nowadays, and his balance is good enough considering his height, and his agility is good enough. Again, I would give him... I think it's the hawk again. I always forget. I'm a very forgetful person. To increase the physical as much as possible, because physical is just too important, right? Increasing physical is a huge, huge thing in FIFA to make players significantly better, right? So players who don't have physical, normally they don't really perform that well. So increasing the physical when the stats are like this, it's like you're just a few stats off of being a really good player. So if you give him a hawk card, increase his finishing as much as possible because finishing is way too important. You increase his sprint speed, volleys being increased, penalties being increased. It'll be nice to have, right? So yet another good card in all fairness. Verratti's card now has a usable card. So this is nice because now the card is usable. Is it worth using it though? I would say no, because if it's a team that's, 32K? If you're a fan of PSGs, 32K is nothing, man. You can win 2 Division 1s and get this card, so that's pretty cool. But the card itself will be, I would say, decent at best playing in the midfield. I think you would only use him more if he was a player that you were a fan of, right? So he has 80 acceleration, 72 sprint speed, so it's not crazy, but it's not bad for a center mid. He is 5'4", so it's kind of bad. He has 94 agility, 99 balance, but even on these cards, he doesn't have like poor agility and balance. You can even tell that's not significantly improved, right? Dribbling as well, going to be very, very good. Attacking wise, I don't know. This card is going to be weird because his finishing is 73. So again, if you're a fan of the card, Italy, whatever, then you use the card. But the 73 finishing, with the way the stats are kind of working out now with Team of the Season cards, that is not worth getting, right? Because finishing stats is... I keep mentioning this in like every Team of the Season video that I review. they're so important to improve that when they're low, it's really, really annoying because you'll always get into a position, right? Because, dude, Neymar scuffs shots and Neymar has good finishing and composure, right? He scuffs shots because of the way that their shooting mechanics were changed because of people complaining about how easy it was for people to score because they sucked at defending, but it is what it is. 73 finishing is just too low, right? And that with the 71 shot power definitely doesn't help. So if I were to use him as a midfielder, because his defensive stats are already quite nice, right? Heading accuracy doesn't matter that much. Give him a hunter card, right? You got to give him a hunter if you're going to use him because the shooting is just far too low, right? His physical, we already know that Verratti's not going to be a physical player. He's going to be an aggressive player, so that's going to be nice to have, but he won't be a physical player. He's 5'4", which is even worse than Conte. So my biggest complaint with Conte, I love Conte's card. Even his team of the year is so good. My only problem with it though is the fact that he's too short, right? The interception stats don't really play into account when your height is so low. When you're playing with like a Patrick Vieira or a Ruud Gullit and you have good interception stats, that's when it's more noticeable, right? Because they're tall, strong dudes, right? But using Verratti, his aggression and his interception stats could make him a better player, but it's something that you would have to try out, right? Well, that's weird. Thauvin was up. Oh, that's awkward. Lecomte, so as you guys know, I don't know if he has the leg save trait, but if he does have the leg save trait, then definitely try him out. Luiz Gustavo, Mbappe. I was about to skip him, Mbappe out of all people. The guy that's literally the overpowered god for everybody but me. I hate this card so much, but I did like this version. It was a slight improvement, but I still hated him. I don't know what it was, right? The thing is, though, is that there's a significant increase from this to the other one in terms of physical stats, right? So that is a pretty big deal. But at the same time, like Mbappe just doesn't do it for me. But the team of the season would 100% do it for me. 95 acceleration, 97 sprint speed, 89 agility, 86 balance. Oh, that's why I didn't like his card. Now I remember. It's because his agility and balance were terrible. That's why I hated this card. And it's so weird how FIFA works, right? Because the thing for me, and I've seen comments about like the previous team of the season videos that I did. People say it's pointless to review the cards when I haven't even played the players yet. But in my experience, and this is different, even pro players are different, right? Because they see the players differently, right? When I play with players, every characteristic that they have and don't have for me is always noticeable in the game. I know when a player is good before even using them, and I know what bad qualities they have before I even use them. And every time I use them, it's always like that. The only thing that you cannot judge is how players would work together, right? So sometimes a player may not be good because of the team that you have him oriented around, right? So if you have Mehdi Benatia and he's medium high work rates, but then you have players around him that aren't very good, Mehdi Benatia is not going to perform that well because of the players around him. So that's also a big thing too. But Mbappe, for me, the reason why I didn't like him is because his agility and balance was just too low. His shot power was super noticeable too, man. His shot power annoyed me so much because it's like I said, when you're under pressure and you don't have shot power, they scuff the shots. They don't take powerful shots, and it's so annoying. I don't know how people liked this card. Really hated it. But team of the season, beautiful. 95 acceleration, 97 sprint speed, 89 agility with 86 balance while being 5'10". Thank you. That's all I needed, right? Everything else on the card is going to be great because you improved his shot power. His agility and balance has been improved, which is great, right? But back to topic. Dribbling is going to be fantastic now. His pace is going to be very good. His shooting is going to be incredibly consistent, but a little bit linear because he does have poor long shots. So I'll be honest with you guys, man. If I slap a hunter on him, I would increase his shooting stats significantly. But if I slap a hawk on him, I'm still increasing the stats significantly. Ooh, 100% give him a hawk, give him that physical stat boost. His passing is already good enough. Shooting, got to be better. Shot power needs to be as perfect as possible. Pace as perfect as possible. He now has, let's go back to the beginning, 82 jumping with 97 heading accuracy. So being 5'10", if you can increase his physical stats even more with the Hawk, that would probably be more preferable, because winning those 50-50s in the air is so important in FIFA, man. Sometimes it's the difference between scoring a goal and not scoring a goal, right? Like, so if you win a header, sometimes I'm looking at the play and I'm like, if I win this header right now, I'll be on a breakaway. Like, that's how important it is, right? So definitely have to look into stuff like that, because it's huge, man. A Hawk is the card that you should use on him, because everything else is great. The passing stats: 82 long passing, 94 short passing. Honest to God, you're not going to really notice a huge difference if you improve the passing stats, in my opinion, right? So definitely give him a Hawk. Traits: he has shooting finesse shots, so that's very nice to have, right? So if you play him as a cam or as a striker, left striker, he's going to play those roles really well. Technical dribbler, speed dribbler, so dribbling is finally going to be god tier with him, because his agility and balance has been improved. So he'll actually be a freaking monster on the pitch. So definitely try him out. But the long shots being low, a little bit annoying, because long shots being 78, you want to improve the shooting as much as possible, right? So that you can really utilize that finesse shot trait, because he is 4-star. So that's a very, very important thing. And things keep resetting every time I go to the team of the season, because now Falcao is here, Depay is here, blah blah blah, right? So if I forget some players because it keeps changing, I do apologize for that. But the next card we have here is Falcao. So Falcao's characteristic in real life was never the fact that he was fast, right? So he now has 82 acceleration, but his acceleration, or 82 pace, sorry, but his acceleration being improved is better than his sprint speed being improved. Because if you give him a card, so here's the thing with me, right? I would give him a hunter. The reason why I'd give him a hunter is because, right, you got to improve the pace as much as possible, because it's just it's far too low. But if you can improve it to be something similar to this, if you believe that it does that, then that'd be the more ideal thing to do. But acceleration 86, 78 sprint speed, 96 agility with 85 balance. So he will dribble really nicely on the ball. If we look at his traits, he has the power header trait, so that's definitely worth looking into. And he has the shooting finesse shot trait. So if you play him as a left striker, he's going to play that role really well. Cutting inside, hitting those finesse shots with his right foot, going on the inside, doing those driven shots with his left, with 89 shot power, 98 finishing, 99 composure. This card's going to be a lot of fun to use if they actually do improve the acceleration and sprint speed by this much with the Hunter card. Hard to tell, man. It's very hard to tell if it's improved by that much. I don't believe it does, but it could. It's hard to tell, though. Physical stat-wise, he's an absolute god. 99 jumping, 99 heading accuracy, 87 strength, 87 aggression, 79 stamina. Stamina is not too important because he is a striker. If you're going to be playing him, you really shouldn't be playing him anywhere else, to be honest. But if you can enjoy him as a striker, kudos to you. He does have a 4-star weak foot, and he is 5'9", which isn't great, to be honest. So the power header trait, it'll be okay. He does have 99 jumping, so that definitely helps. But with the way center backs are going nowadays, center backs are going to have some crazy stats to be able to outwin the ball against those types of guys, right? So gotta be very careful of that. Depay has a better card now. I think people told me that he was 3-star the entire time, but I swear he was improved to a 3-star weak foot. I could be completely wrong, but if you look at this card, the only thing that it's really missing is a little bit of height and the 4-star weak foot. So 99 acceleration, 96 sprint speed, 94 agility, 96 balance. So moving on the ball. Even on this card, I liked moving with this card, right? This is Depay was one of the cheap options to get, right? So because he's one of the cheap options, you use this card. Okay finishing, okay composure. Cheap cards in the beginning, can't go wrong, right? So very good card. But if we look at the team of the season, a lot of significant stat improvements, right? He has high-low work rates. High-low work rates is a really fun work rate to have because your players make the most aggressive runs in behind someone's defense, right? So definitely worth trying out there. 88 finishing with 87 composure, 99 shot power, 99 long shots. If he has the finesse shot trait, even better. He has shooting long shot taker, so that's nice to have if you're playing him on the right side. Do not play him on the left side because he doesn't have the finesse shot trait. You're going to want to be able to do the Oh, even worse, avoids using the weaker foot. You do not want to use this guy as a left wing, right? Selfish flair, shooting as dribbler, so dribbling, he's going to be incredible, obviously. Um, Physical stat increases are very, very nice, actually. 90 stamina, 94 strength, 85 jumping, 80 heading accuracy. So he'll be a lot of fun to use. If you do end up using this card, his finishing is low, so you would have to give him I'd probably a Hawk again, you know. Since his sprint speed is so high, maybe. Is there a card that gives you physical and shooting? I swear there was. I think it was it Hawk, Marksman, Gladiator, Backbone, Guardian? No. I swear there's a card that actually gives you shooting and physical. I'm going to check this out right now. I swear there is one that actually does that. Architect, Marksman, Hawk, Artist, Deadeye, Finisher, Sniper, Basic. Oh, so there isn't one. Unless I was blind and I completely missed it. Yeah, if you can increase his physical and his shooting, that'd be ideal because his dribbling is already very good. His passing, his long passing is poor, so you could give him a catalyst to make his passing a little bit better. Yeah, you could give him catalyst. If you're going to be playing him as a cam as well, he would definitely be more ideal with the catalyst. Ah, but no, you gotta. Oh, not catalyst. Deadeye. Where's Deadeye? Deadeye is this one. So giving his shooting stats, right? You don't need the pace increase because 96 sprint speed. You won't notice that between 99. Like it's 3. It's literally a 3 difference, right? In that because it's so high up, you won't notice a difference. Um, yeah, I would probably give him a Deadeye. Although if you look at it, they're not significant stat increases, right? So it's kind of I don't know, man. If you if there's something, if there's a card that you can improve the physical, the shooting, and the dribbling. Ooh, physical shooting, dribbling, actually. Hello. Oh, sniper? No. Physical and pace. That's art. What was that one? The physical and pace was Hawk. Marksman gives you physical and dribbling. You don't need to improve the dribbling. Physical and passing. Passing and defense. You don't need to improve defense. Guardian, no. Sentinel, no. You could. Nah, you gotta give him shooting. Shooting is the only card that you gotta give him. I think Gladiator's not loading properly because I think Gladiator's supposed to improve the shooting as well, but I could be wrong. Backbone, passing, defense, physical. That wouldn't be a bad one either, but you gotta improve the shooting as much as possible, man. You just have to, right? So, whatever improves the shooting, anything else you do is entirely up to you. Let's see what else we got here. We got, okay, everything just keeps switching, so I think it's Luiz Gustavo next. Luiz Gustavo has an incredibly usable CDM card. But with how things are nowadays, a 63 finishing is low because if you look at other team of the seasons, like 47k is not bad. So again, Brazil, team of the season, Marseille, any of those types of things. Nice to use the card, but the way that the cards are nowadays, the finishing is kind of low, right? Because if this is a card you get in the beginning of the year, oh, mamma mia, it's amazing, right? Because the card is going to be incredible. Good defensive stats, amazing physical stats because he's huge in game. He's 6'1", right? Medium high work rates. He'll be a fun CDM to use. To be honest, you don't really shoot that much with your CDM, but you do sometimes get into a position where you want to be able to pop a long shot. And sometimes, like when I'm using like a regular Conte, right, or something, and I want to pop in a long shot or something, he's just not that great at taking them. Not long shots, like it's long shots shooting. He can score them, but consistency is important because here's the thing about the finishing in FIFA. The defensive AI is really overpowered, right? So you need the finishing to be as high as possible because players with like 94 finishing and 99 composure sometimes miss the entire net. And the thing about what people say about the finishing is that people will always blame the person, but in all honesty, this isn't the type of game to blame the person because it was literally EA that changed the finishing mechanics because of people complaining about the high scoring games because they actually made the shooting inconsistent and the goalies better, which didn't make any sense, right? If you want to add your defensive AI, then so be it. If you want to make your goalies better, then so be it. But changing your shooting accuracy and stuff was incredibly stupid in my opinion because people who are conceding goals, like, you should be defending better. You know what I mean? Like, it's I don't know what to, but this is before, not now. The game is complete. The skill gap is so small nowadays. A silver one player can beat you if you're a top 100 player. It's so small, right? But we got some other players here. Let's see who else we got. So a couple dudes here. Toko and Kemba. Let's see here. He's 2-star, 3-star. Not a player I would use, but if you're a fan of the club, blah blah blah, he'll be fun to use. But I wouldn't use his card. His That's just it's just too low. It's not even like worth trying out. Anthony Lopez being Portuguese and stuff, cool, but um, he's a weird one, man. He's gonna be a weird one if you use him, right? I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. Um, Everything keeps switching. So I'm at Marquinhos right now, I think. Yes, so Marquinhos. So Marquinhos is going to be another fantastic center back to use. So he has medium work rates, which is really nice actually. 79 acceleration, 83 sprint speed, 76 agility, 78 balance, reactions, ball control, blah blah. Very very good. Defensive stats are incredibly nice. And his physical stats are also incredibly nice too. So he's 6 foot tall with good physical stats, good defending stats. His pace, uh, let's see. If you give him an anchor card, yeah, anchor would probably be the most ideal thing to do. Is give him that pace increase, the physical increase, and then the like. If you believe that it upgrades, okay. So if it's like a placebo thing, right? If you want to give him shadow because you want him to be more oriented around being a better defender and better with pace, because look at the difference between the pace upgrade, right? We're in the 90s with the shadow card, whereas we're in the 80s or the high 80s with the anchor card. So the pace increase is just too important because his agility and balance is quite nice for someone who's 6 foot tall. So I would definitely recommend giving him a shadow card to make him significantly better. Kimpembe's card. Kimpembe is going to be a really sick player next year because the World Cup mode, he actually has a good card, right? He has the pace, the defending, and the physical, and he's fun to use. So um, yeah, but in regards to his team of the season, the pace, defending, and physical drastically improved, obviously, because this card sucks, but this card is amazing, right? So he has the acceleration and sprint speed, agility, and balance. That's very good for a center back. Dribbling is going to be very nice with him as well, which is fantastic. Although his dribbling is 66, his ball control, his reactions, composure, very, very nice. Shooting sucks, but that's okay. You can't always have everything perfect, like because the thing about the center backs having good shooting is that sometimes the ball in the on the corner kicks or just the way that the play revolves, it lands to a center back when you make those extra passes. So it's nice having dribbling and shooting stats because of those situations, right? So but defensive stats, he's going to be a god. Heading accuracy is pretty decent considering he's 91 jumping with 6 foot height. Aggression and strength is fantastic. Stamina being 78 is not an issue because he's a center back. So definitely worth trying out this card as well. I would still give him a shadow card because I need to improve his pace as much as possible because his physical is already really good, right? So I would notice it more with amazing defensive stats than giving him an anchor and then being slower, right? So just a personal thing, right? Rabiot is the next one here. So Rabiot has a usable card, but the sprint speed has gone lower. 73 is not too ideal because this card is a center mid right off the bat. No questions asked. You got to give him a shadow card, right? If you're going to be using him as a center mid, defensive stats being improved is significantly important for your players to perform really well in the midfield roles, right? So because he is high attacking and medium defensive, you want to be able to have someone whose marking is good and all those kind of things so that he's more defensive oriented because he's going to be very attacking oriented. Now, if you prefer for him to be attacking oriented, then so be it, right? If you give him a hunter card, left footed on the left center mid role, you can't go wrong, right? Improving his pace and drastically improving his finishing stats. Defensive stats are decent considering you're improving his shooting stats quite significantly, right? But I'd still give him a shadow card. But if we reset here, the sprint speed is a little bit low. So right off the bat, you have to improve the pace. But the thing about Rabiot's card, characteristic-wise, is he does have poor balance. He has 55 balance, which isn't necessarily nice to have when you're playing him in the center mid role. Because I notice when balance is poor, when players have like 78, and someone who's 6'2" with 55 balance, That will personally annoy me. There's so many pro players that love Milinkovic-Savic, but I don't like him because of the agility and the balance being so low in the midfield role. Now, this is for the FIFA 18 gameplay. The World Cup gameplay is very different. The players who have poor agility and balance, some of them are actually pretty good because of the slow gameplay in the World Cup. So definitely worth looking into as well, right? So, but this card, usable, but not necessarily ideal in my opinion. He is high medium work rate, so it really depends on you if you want to try that out, right? Next card we got here is Mathieu Debussy. Mathieu Debussy has 87 acceleration. This card is going to be a fun card to use. He'll be a lot of fun to use because his defensive stats are already very, very good. So honestly, give him a hunter card because you want to improve his shooting. This card will be able to do everything for you, which is always very, very nice to have, right? So if you want to tell him to always overlap, he'll be good at that. His dribbling will be fantastic. If you believe that the pace and shooting is increased by that much, his pace and shooting will be fantastic. His dribbling, his physical, his defending, his passing, everything about this card will be amazing if you believe that the 100 card is improved by that much. Because telling guys like this to be unbalanced on your instructions or always overlapping, he's going to be amazing, right? So try him out and see how he works in your team. Next cards we got here. We got Remy 68 pace. Don't even want to bother looking at that. Center mid, Aquar. This will be a fun card to use, I think, actually. His attacking is going to be incredible. His attacking will be very good in the midfield role. His defending, not so much. So because his shooting stats are already quite nice considering he's going to be playing as a center mid, try to slap a shadow card on him, right? So you can improve his sliding tackle and his sliding tackle as much as possible so that the AI kind of does that for you more often. His physical stats are already quite nice. His aggression is nice for someone who has 99 pace, essentially, right? Agility and balance is good, so dribbling on the ball, he'll be okay. But the reactions you will notice in terms of that quickness, right? 4-star weak foot, also very nice with 90 finishing and 95 shot power, so really cool to have. Traits, he only has flair. Passing stats, he's good at as well. So this will be a fun card to use, and he'll get those links with like Fakir, and there was somebody else I was thinking of in Leon. And for some reason, I can't think of him right now. Depay, right? So if you want to get some links with that, or even Mbappe, because Mbappe's French and blah, blah, definitely worth looking into as well. Oh, so Mariano actually got a card. That's kind of cool. I followed Mariano ever since he was a player at Real Madrid, like when he went on as a substitution. I always thought that he had a lot of promise. I remember watching, it was one game he was substituted on, and I was like, wow, this guy is actually a pretty decent striker. And it seems like he did really well. I don't watch the Ligue 1 that much. I watched a few games from PSG, but it's great that he got a team of the season because he did seem like a pretty decent player, and he's also 24 years old. I think he's from, he's Dominican Republic. He looks so Brazilian, though. I honestly thought he was Brazilian, right? But yeah, 91 acceleration, 87 sprint speed, 95 agility, 87 bounce, so usable. 4-star weak foot, finishing stats are quite nice. Volleys are low, but that's okay. It's not that big of a deal. Composure 79 is quite low for someone who's going to be playing as a team of the season, so if you do end up using this card, it's more oriented around the fact that you're a fan of Leon or you're Dominican Republic. You're from Dominican Republic. You know, his finishing is going to be very good. His physical is going to be amazing. His long passing is really poor, so striker is the only place you can really use him. Traits, he tries to beat the defensive line, so that's actually really helpful. So if you tell him to get in behind and press the back line with very good physical stats and good pace with good agility and balance, good shooting, it'll be really fun to try out this card for sure. But the 4-star skill moves not being there could present to be a problem from time to time. Rustillion, don't even have to look at this card. This card's a god. He's probably one of the best left backs in the game. Let's look at the card. Yep, best left back probably one of the best left backs in the game. High work rates, boys. High work rates. Acceleration, sprint speed, god tier for a fullback. Agility and balance, god tier for a fullback. He has finishing stats now, because if you look at the informs and stuff, they're pretty poor, right? He has finishing stats now, so sometimes, you know, if you're pushing up with him, he can actually take some good shots. Long shots and shot powers are good, so that's actually nice. Sometimes your left backs are in a nice position in the left side of the 18-yard box. You can take a nice long shot with them. Defensive stats are absolute god tier for a fullback. His physical stats are absolute god tier. His passing stats are absolute god tier. So one of the best left backs in the game. Only hindrance with this card is a 5'8" height, but we already know how Jordi Alba plays with the 5'7" height. So I think Jordi Alba's 5'7". I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's pretty low. Obviously, right off the bat, got to give him an anchor card, improve the pace as much as possible, physical, defending. That's the whole ideal, the spiel with the fullbacks. If you're more of an attacking-oriented player, give him a hunter card, improve his, or give him a hawk card to improve his physical, finishing, and the pace. So very, very nice card. Dude, because this Brazilian card, if you look at his inform is already amazing. Look at this card. For an inform fullback, pretty good for a French dude. But this card right here, this is what I'm talking about, right? This card is sick. Next card, I think we have the last card here, actually, or the last two cards, is one more card, Rony Lopez. I never heard of Rony Lopez, so to be fair, I never really watched Monaco that much. But this dude is Portuguese, so kind of interesting, right? 94 acceleration. He is 20 years old, I think. Actually, he's 22 years old. I think this guy was from Man City, if I'm right. 94 acceleration, 86 sprint speed, 95 agility, 97 balance. Dribbling on the ball is going to be very nice. His shooting stats aren't that crazy good, so right off the bat, you got to slap a hunter on him. He does have 4-star skills, but not the 3-star weak foot, so play him anywhere on the right side or sometimes as a cam, right? So hunter right off the bat. Increase the pace as much as possible, the shooting as much as possible, blah, blah, blah. Physical's not there at all, so it's going to be very, very dribbling-oriented. His passing is quite decent, but all in all, it's an okay card. Traits, he doesn't have any traits, so not necessarily that great. I'm actually curious to see what the fullbacks get as traits. If he has any traits, he doesn't have any traits. So that is going to conclude the review for the League One team of the season. There's a lot of really fun players to use in this team of the season because the French players in FIFA, there's so much you can do because they're literally everywhere in like all the leagues, right? So there's so much that you can link with these players. So really, really cool. A lot of really fun cards to use. A lot of them I wouldn't even touch, to be honest, like this Toko and Kemba, maybe even Falcao. Lecomte, I don't know if he has a leg save trait. Glick, I wouldn't touch him. Verratti, wouldn't touch him. Mariano wouldn't touch him. Rabiot, Remy. Maybe acquire for fun, but not having defensive stats is a little bit annoying. Kimpembe is going to be an overpowered beast next year. I can already see it. But that is going to conclude the video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you guys did enjoy it, please drop a thumbs up on the video. Definitely helps out the channel a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.